Hello, everyone. It is Saturday, October 22nd. It's 1:03 p.m. And this is the latest in Western Liberty Network series of trainings. We do these almost every Saturday at 1 o'clock Pacific time, and they're all free. So if you see a topic coming up that you like, go ahead and tune in, and you can participate however you like. Got a couple of things we need to go over first. First of all, I want to point out that this is Western Liberty Network, a 501c3 organization, and as such, we do not endorse or support any political candidate, political party, ballot measure, or legislation. What we do is to train limited government grassroots activists in how to do politics successfully, and then they may take what they learn and apply it to any campaign they care about. It's up to them completely. So that's what Western Liberty Network is about. I'm going to share the screen really quick. There we go. And what you see on the screen here is Western Liberty Network's website. At the top here, we've got our next major opportunity. We have a major conference on February 4th. You can register for now. We are still adding speakers, but FreedomWorks is involved, and their director of policy is one of the speakers. We're working on getting some Congress people there. But this is a big hit every year. This has become the premier grassroots training conference of the year. It's on February 4th, and you can register now. $95 gets you in for the whole day and a whole lunch. There's a reception the night before. And if you register now, it will bring you to this lovely screen where you can get your ticket. And you can also get a room if you want one. You can reserve a room. This is going to be at the beautiful Embassy Suites Hotel out by the airport in Portland. And so encourage you to sign up now. The hotel is always screaming for deposits. So we're trying to generate some early revenue so that we can make them happy. So if you are interested in attending, click the register now button. Scrolling down further on the home site, you'll see what we're working on. This, for example, is the training that we're having today on how to organize a precinct. This will change next week. It's going to be Greg Burnett who will do a social media training for us. Scrolling down, you can see some of the past things that we've done. This is training that we've done since spring. Different things that have been going on. This is a conference we did in March in Klamath Falls. You'll find that on the right-hand side, there are a number of resources, slideshows for some of the presentations, recordings of some of the presentations, speeches. This is from our main conference in last February. You can see some speeches there, and just a lot of good resources. If you want to learn more about training, go to the training tab at the top of our homepage. This will bring you to our training page. At the top, it speaks of our different kinds of training. Go down here and you'll find training documents. These are designed to be provided with a live training, but they stand up on their own. If you want to know how to canvass your neighborhood, for example, you'll find that one, click on it, and you'll get a PDF document on that topic. You can download it, copy it, print it, do whatever you want. None of these are copyrighted, so you can use these as you wish to spread information about how to do specific skills. All kinds of skills are here. Lots of different things you can do. At the very bottom, we've got a link where you can click on one and get all the training documents in one click. Farther down, you'll see the videos. We're recording all of these training videos, including this one. This one will appear here shortly after the session is over. And you can scroll down and get a lot of information. I provide some of the trainings. Others are provided by experts in their respective fields. We have about 2 years worth of trainings here. So if you look at the videos and you look at the training documents, you can literally design your own training program. If you like what we're doing and you want to help us out, go to Support Western Liberty Network. And you can make a one-time contribution or a monthly recurring contribution. And this, of course, is all tax deductible. So you can get a break on your taxes when you give to Western Liberty Network. So that is the spiel. And with that, we're going to start with the training today. There's a document I'm going to send you through the chat window, and this will be available to people online when they look at the recording. Let's see, where is it? There it is. Hold on. Precinct Committee Chairperson. Okay. This document that I'm sending through the chat window includes the training document for today, outline of the responsibilities of effective precinct people. And there's also a manual from both the Republican and the Democratic parties on how to be a good precinct organizer. I looked for other parties too, but I didn't find them. This is good information. Check it out, read it. But one thing I want to make very clear is that if you want to organize a precinct, you do not have to be affiliated with a political party to do it. You can organize a precinct just as a private citizen that's interested in an issue or supporting a candidate, or you can organize a precinct for a political party, or you can organize a precinct for a candidate. And I'm going to be working in the context of organizing for a political party today, whatever party you might be a member of, on how to be a good precinct captain. Of course, right now in Oregon and in Washington, one of the main responsibilities of precinct organizers is to get people to vote, get your vote out. It's all about getting the vote out. I got my ballot today. I just showed up in the mail right here. And a lot of ballots are going out across both Oregon and Washington. It's time to get the vote out. And one of the most important things you can do to get the vote out is to organize your precinct. Now, if you're working for a political party, there are three kinds of precinct committee chair people out there. One is for people who really don't want to work their precinct. They want to be on their voting committee in their political party. They want to be involved with the social life of the political party, but they don't really want to organize the precinct. Another kind is a person that wants a title, maybe as a way to climb up the party hierarchy by taking a title, being a precinct committee chairperson. And then there is the third kind, which is the kind of precinct committee person that actually organizes their precinct. Whether you are operating independently or with a political party, this is really what it's about. Precinct organizers are there to organize, inform, and mobilize voters in their precinct for the purpose of taking political power at the ballot box so they can advance a platform of some kind. That's what being a precinct committee person is about. It's important to participate in your political party functions if you are a member of a political party. It is also important to get experience doing different jobs in politics. But if you are organizing a political party at a precinct level, remember that your job is to make sure that people who are sympathetic to your ideological position get out to vote. It's all about people exercising political power through the ballot box so you can advance the platform. There are some things you can do right off the bat. First of all, get a walking list from your political party. If you can't get one from your political party or you're not working with a political party, get one from your county elections officer. Getting a list of people in your precinct is not expensive. Precincts only involve typically a few hundred people. It's not very much money, under $50, probably under $25. I know that people can get a complete list of every voter in the state with voting history for about $500. So getting a list like that for your precinct is trivial. Remember that when you get a list like that, try to ask for it in walking form. Say, I'm in precinct 201. I want a walking list precinct list. And this will list all of the voters in your precinct by order in which they appear on the street. So you can look at them and you can see who they are and by house, and see if they're independent, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Green, whatever they are. And you can know that walking up to them. You're going to have to work your precinct. You're going to have to walk your precinct if you want to organize it effectively. There are a lot of ways to influence people. You can email them, you can call them, but nothing is as effective as knocking on the door and looking someone in the eye and interacting with them as a fellow voter. When you do that, make sure that when you're walking the precinct, make sure you're dressed. It's starting to rain now in Oregon. Make sure you have dry shoes. Don't take an umbrella because you're going to need your hands available to hand things out, to write things down. So if you want to stay dry, wear something with a hood or a poncho or something like that, so you don't need to take an umbrella. Bring somebody with you for safety when you walk your precinct. Make sure that, they don't know if you're a 5-state axe murderer when you knock on their door, and you don't know if they're a 5-state axe murderer when you're knocking on their door. Bring somebody with you. Have some kind of a name tag or a badge. If you are operating independently, wear a campaign button for the person or the ballot measure that you're working with. If you're working for a political party, have a lanyard or a badge saying that you're with the X county political party, whatever it is. Have a clipboard for taking notes, and then knock on doors. There really is no substitute for knocking on doors when you're trying to organize a precinct. Yes, it's important that you participate in your party's business if you're a member of a political party. And yes, it is important that you meet other party members in your district, so you know who like-minded people are. But if you are organizing a precinct, there really is no substitute for just getting out there. I've seen some political parties where there is internal fighting, factionalism that's at stake, and they're waiting for someone who's designated the precinct chairperson to organize people to work in the precinct. If you're in a situation like this, I simply say, don't wait for the organization. Find out what precinct you're in, and whether or not you are a designated precinct organizer, get to work. Just pretend that your job is to organize the precinct. If you're not representing a political party, or you don't have an office in a political party, don't claim that you do. Just say that you are, an active voter, that you live in the precinct, and that you want to make sure that everyone in your precinct gets out and votes, particularly those who are sympathetic to yourself, mainly folks that are aligned or registered with the same political party you are, whatever it is. But the idea is, do not wait for a blessing from your party or your organization. If there are any problems, if there are any delays, if there is infighting, if there is any factionalism, don't wait. Just take it upon yourself to organize your precinct for the candidates and ballot measures that you care about. Are there any questions so far? Are there any comments so far about any of this? And yes, Donna, I only see one of you today. Okay, Donna, go ahead.
Which Donna?
Oh, I'm sorry, Donna Blayler. Sometimes she logs on, and because of a computer thing, she shows up twice, but today she's only showing up once. Apparently she's fixed it. But I was going to ask if you have any questions. Are we good? Becky?
Oh, well, yeah, I've gone out a couple of times already, and should we ask, I mean, we have a list of who lives there, etc. And sometimes we get, like 5 people are supposed to live in the house, hold. And should we ask if those other people are still there? Because our roles seem to be, kind of outdated, and we're trying to catch them up. So I don't feel comfortable really, though, asking them who all lives here, or are these people still here, or whatever. What's your advice?
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. Okay. Your job as a precinct committee person, or as somebody that's organizing a precinct, your job at this point is to make sure that everybody who's voting, who might vote is going to vote. You're not taking a census at this point. And after the election, a precinct committee person can go around and say, look, I want to make sure my lists are right. There are a lot of ways you can do it. The election people may correct their own lists, update it, depends on what county you're in and how good the election clerk is. Some of them like to do updates, some of them resist it because of the time and effort that's involved. But right now, you're just trying to make sure the people get out to vote, and that you're reminding them it's an election. They should have their ballots. Do they plan to vote? Get your precinct out there. Does that help you?
Thank you.
No problem. Let's see what else. Right now, most people are not observing COVID anymore, and that's fine. What a pain in the rear that has been. But generally, when you knock on the door, go ahead and stay 6 feet back. There are some people that are still sensitive to COVID, but even if they're not, give them some space. You don't want to be right up at the doorstep from them. When you talk to them, introduce yourself and tell them your purpose. don't have a complicated script that you'll sound like an actor, you're repeating a script. What I like to do when I talk to people in my precinct is I say, hi, my name is Richard Burke. I live in your precinct and I'm organizing the precinct for such and such. And right now we want to make sure that people who have their ballots actually vote. And ask them if they've got their ballots. Ask them if they've voted yet. If they haven't voted yet, ask if, when they plan to vote. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not being intrusive. You are assisting them in the deployment of their political franchise. This is their chance to deploy some political power, to vote for who they like, to vote for what they like. And you are trying to get them to use their power. You're not asking them for any money. You're not asking them for any time beyond the time it takes to talk to them at their doorstep. You are encouraging them to do that. So I would say, hi, I'm Richard Burke, and I'm organizing the precinct for, the X party, and would like to know, we're trying to get everyone to vote, would like to know if you've got your ballot yet. And have you voted? Oh, you haven't? Okay. When do you plan to vote? And the reason why I ask this question is because if people have a plan to vote, they are 72% more likely to cast a ballot. This is according to a study done by Stanford University. And what is a plan? Well, my wife and I were planning to fill out our ballots when we're eating dinner on Tuesday night. That's a plan. It doesn't have to be rocket science. Say, hi, I'm Richard Burke, or, I'm Donna Kreitzberg, I'm Donna Blayler, I'm Becky, and I'm organizing our precinct. I live in our precinct, and want to make sure that we all get our ballots out. Do you have your ballot? Have you voted? But when do you plan to vote? That's a good question. When do you plan to vote? And if there was, why do you want to know why we're planning to vote? It says, because as soon as you vote, people like me quit bothering you. As soon as you ever notice that the political ads in the mailbox stop coming after you voted, a few days after you voted. Likewise, people will stop knocking at the door a few days after you voted. So, and that's all. If they don't want to talk to you, that's fine. If they do want to talk to you, you've made them aware. Their ballot is there. There's somebody organizing the precinct. You're encouraging them to cast their ballot. That's very, very important. A lot of times when you talk to people, you will find folks that want to be active, that agree with you, especially if you're knocking on the doors of people who are registered with the same party that you are. If they are active, if they want to be active, go ahead and write their name down. If they want to volunteer, write their name down. If they don't want you to ever knock on their door again, write that down too. You can make notes alongside these lists, and someone at your campaign headquarters or political party headquarters will be able to use that information in the future. But anyway, remember something about these lists. When you get a list of people that you're talking to, at any given time, the list is going to be 20% wrong. Okay, people move all the time. They sell their houses, they get divorced, they get married, all of these things. And it's really hard for the election office to keep up, and they're not known for doing a very good job of that anyway. So expect that your list is going to be 20% wrong. Of course, if you're a half full guy like I am, that means that you can see your list and know that it's going to be 80% right. But anyway, I like paper lists. I don't like computer lists. Carry a paper list with you, make notations on the paper, deal with, if you want to do any spreadsheet work and all of that when you get home, that's fine. But in the field, with rain and, dodgy cell phone programs and things like that, I really like paper. Make some notes and, use a good pen that will write on paper, even if there's a couple raindrops on it, whatever you need. Another thing you can remember is if you are in a political party and you are a precinct committee chairperson, think about that title, precinct committee chairperson. That means there could be a committee and that you would be the chair of that committee. A lot of people get elected to the position of precinct committee chairperson in whatever party, and then they don't bring anyone else in. There is no committee, just them. And maybe they'll do the work and maybe they won't do the work. But to properly organize your precinct, try to find a couple of people in your precinct or in adjacent precincts that are willing to help you. That way, when you walk a precinct, you're not alone. You've got someone working with you other than the person you bring along, whether it be one of your kids or your husband or wife, whatever it might be. Build a committee to organize your precinct and be the chairperson of that committee. If you're not affiliated with a political party, you can do the same thing. If you're working on a ballot measure, or if you're working to support a particular candidate, find a couple of people in your precinct or an adjacent precinct who are sympathetic with what you're doing and ask them to help you to organize the precinct. Have a committee, get some help. Don't try to do it by yourself. You know, if God forbid you were to catch a cold or a flu, all the precinct work would stop unless you have a committee, somebody that could pick up the ball and run with it. So make sure that you get some help. Stay in touch with other precinct people if you are in a political party or in a campaign. Divide labor, assign responsibilities, and just share your successes. If you are working in a political party or in a campaign, I always suggest that you get together regularly with other people that are doing the same kind of work. If you have a big day of canvassing, for example, organizing your precinct on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Tuesday night, when you are finished, get together at somebody's house for pizza or meet at Pizza Hut or something like that and talk about your day, talk about your experiences. It's really important that you build camaraderie. It's really important that you share your stories and you learn from each other's experiences. That's very key. And then finally, what I would do is offer you this bit of advice. And if you take nothing more away from this session than what I'm about to tell you, then you'll be way ahead of the game. And that is that when you're out there, do not take anything that happens in the field personally. It's easy to agree with this in your mind. It's easy to accept this in your mind, but sometimes it's hard to do it in your heart. If you're not used to this kind of work and you knock on doors and you work on you're working your precinct, you will sometimes knock on the door of somebody who's having a bad day and who's really rude to you, or maybe someone who is a woke, big government activist, somebody like that. And they may say negative things to you. They may call you fascist. They may slam the door in your face. They may threaten to call the police saying that you're trespassing. And that's something else I'll talk about in just a second. But, you will have bad experiences like that. But as I try to let people know, don't take them to heart. The people who give you grief in this way, they really don't know anything about you. They don't know your family. They don't know your hobbies. They don't know what you love, the music you like, the movies you like. They don't know anything about your faith. They don't know anything about you. And so if they treat you abusively or slam the door in your face, it's not about you. It's a reflection of something inside themselves that they don't like. It's a reflection of an experience they're having that they don't want to have to deal with. But it's something that you shouldn't try to take personally. I've seen activists, out of the gate, just by bad luck, will have 3 or 4 bad experiences in a row, just out of the gate. And then say, Rich, I want to help you, but I didn't sign up for this. I didn't need this kind of abuse. These are people who took it personally. And it's hard not to do that when it actually happens to you. But if you can get to the point where you know in your soul that these experiences are not to be taken personally, you'll be immune to it. It'll come off of your back like water off a duck, and it should, because the next experience could very well be a positive one. You'll have positive experiences too. You'll have people who have been waiting for someone who thinks like them to knock on their door. You'll find people who want to be active but don't know how or who to contact. You'll find people that are, have life situations like yours that you can become personal friends with. All of these things are going to happen. But don't take what happens personally. One other tip is don't spend too much time at a door when you're working at a precinct. Your job is to cover as much territory as you can, as fast as you can. It's really easy to get sucked into a conversation with someone you agree with. It's really easy to get sucked into a debate with someone you disagree with. Resist that. If you find yourself in that situation, 20 minutes could go by and boom, there are 5, 6 doors you could have hit, but now you're out of time and you have to stop. If you find somebody that you're in a long conversation with, make sure that you say, look, I'd really like to chat with you. Here's my telephone number. Call me. Maybe we can get together next week over coffee and we can talk about this some more. But right now I have to do this work. People will respect that and you'll get the work done. And maybe if they call you, if they're interested enough to call you, maybe you'll make a friend or find a good debate partner. But the idea is to stay in the field and to knock on as many doors as you can to organize your precinct as well as you can. Make sure that you stay off of private property. Don't walk across people's lawns, use the easements, the sidewalks. Make sure you don't make comments when you're with somebody about what a jerk that person was, or that was fun, or whatever the personal comments were. Because a lot of people now have these smart doorbells with very, very sensitive microphones. And if you say something that you wouldn't want out there in the public about somebody you spoke with, you could find yourself on a campaign ad for your opposition when they talk about the kind of people that support, the candidates you support. You don't want that to happen. So save those for the pizza party at the end. Another very important thing too is with regard to trespassing. If there is a sign that says no trespassing on an individual dwelling, stay away from it. If you see one on an individual dwelling, and I stress individual dwelling, saying no canvassing, stay away from that too. If it is an apartment complex or an HOA, not homeowners association, and it's not an individual dwelling and it says no canvassing or no trespassing, they cannot stop you, because if you are working a precinct, you are doing political canvassing, and that is a protected First Amendment right. If you look at our other training on how to canvass neighborhoods, we provide the court citations to back that up. And that training document is available on the training page of the westernlibertynetwork.org website. So if it says no canvassing or no trespassing on an individual dwelling, like a door in an apartment or a house, stay away from it. If it is an HOA or an apartment complex, you have a right to canvass. If a sign says no soliciting, you can knock on that door. You are not soliciting, because soliciting is when you are asking for something of value. You're asking for a donation of money, of an old car, for like Cars for Kids or whatever it is. You're asking for something of value. That's soliciting. If you are politically canvassing and you're not asking for money, you are not soliciting, you are canvassing. So organizing your precinct is a protected First Amendment right, and it does not constitute soliciting. Of course, not everybody knows that. So you might knock on the door of somebody who doesn't understand that distinction and go, "Can't you see my no soliciting sign?" Well, just very politely say, "You know what? I'm sorry, sir. I'm not soliciting because I'm not asking for money or anything of value. But if you want, I'll leave immediately." Most of the time they'll say, "Oh, okay, well, what do you got? As long as you're here." Sometimes they'll tell you to go away. If they tell you to go away, go away. But whatever you do, don't take it personally, because why? These people don't know anything about you. But you can canvass and not violate a no soliciting sign. Apartment complexes and homeowners associations, they do not have the right to ban political canvassing. It's a protected right. I would again go to that other training document on the training tab of the westernlibertynetwork.org website if you want the court citations about that. Finally, the last tip I'll give you is to, I'll give you a couple more. When you're organizing your precinct, bring a small backpack with you. That includes trailer parks too. Yes, that's absolutely right. Becky says. Bring a small backpack with a sandwich, bottle of water. And again, make sure you're dressed appropriately for your weather. So you stay out there, make sure you have somebody. Make sure you've got a charged cell phone. for whatever reason. Then finally, one other hazard to deal with is when you're working your precinct and you're handing out campaign materials, you can leave campaign materials almost at anywhere. You can leave it under a doormat. You can leave it in the area between a doorknob and a door jamb. You can leave it in one of the gaps of a chain link fence. But the one thing you cannot do is put it in anything that is used as a mailbox. It is a federal offense to put anything into a mailbox unless it is your mailbox, or unless you're putting mail in that's to be sent out or brought back. So make sure you stay away from anything that's used as a mailbox. But anyway, those are some basic canvassing rules, but also an outline of what the responsibility of a good precinct committee chairperson is. Generally, I advise people wanting to organize a precinct to work their precinct at least 3 times during an election cycle. First, just to introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Richard Burke. I live in the same precinct as you do, and I'm organizing this precinct. And I just wanted to introduce myself and shake hands and go on to the next one. That's fine. Next time you go around, you inform people. Hi, my name is Richard Burke. You might remember me. I'm your precinct committee organizer. And I've got something new for you this time. I have this information for you, letting you know about the candidates and ballot measures I'm supporting. Got that? Thank you. And that's it. Then the third time you go around is when it's time to get them to vote. Hi, Richard Burke. You remember me. You've seen me twice before. Ballots are out now, and I'm out here to make sure that everybody votes. Ideally, in an election cycle, you work your precinct 3 times. Introduce yourself, give out information, voter education, and then get them out to vote. Now, obviously, if you haven't done those things already, time is very short before the November election. You really only have time now to get the vote out, but that's all right. It's still effective. They're not going to be familiar with you already, but you're going to give them a chance to vote. And I guarantee you more people will vote in your precinct if you do this than if you do not do this. And if you follow these guidelines, you will have success. Now, I've got something else from Becky. If no trespassing sign is on the fence, is it okay to leave literature on their gate? I would, I'm not a lawyer, so don't take this as legal advice, but I would say yes. A gate is a barrier between where, you can be and where you cannot be. And if you put something for them at the gate, you can leave it for them there. You're not violating the property. You're not opening the gate and moving into the property. You're just leaving a piece of paper along the gate. I can't imagine that anybody's going to prosecute you for that. But again, I'm not a lawyer, but if it were me out in the field, I would probably do it. How early from the election should you do the intro walk? I would say at least a few months. I would say a few months, and then when the campaign starts, I would say do the intro walk July. I mean, this is for a November election. Do the intro walk in July or August. Do the info walk in September, mid-September to early October, and do the get out the vote walk in mid-October until the ballots are in. And use this basic timeline for any election. If it's a May election, I would do the third run around, a couple of weeks before, right when the ballots go out, informational run a couple of months before that, intro a couple of months before that. In 2-3 elections, they're going to be tired of you. They're going to know who you are. And that you're going to know who your friends are, and who your opponents are. And you will probably have met enough people to build a pretty good committee to organize your precinct where you are. A precinct is like a musical instrument. You will get good at mastering it, but you've got to work it. You've got to practice it. You've got to interact with other voters. If you're an introvert, you don't want to be a precinct committee chairperson. If you're just doing it for the social function, or you're just doing it to have a title and to vote in up scale party business, that's not a good, you're not doing your party a service, you're not doing your candidates a service. People should only be willing to be a precinct committee chairperson if they're willing to actually work their precinct. And that goes for people who are not in a political party. If you are an independent person that wants to organize your precinct, you've got to get out there. You cannot do it from behind a desk. You cannot do it on the internet. You've got to actually look people in the eye if you want to be effective. And so those are my hints for you to use. What do we have here? Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Are there any questions before we call it a day today? Anybody have any questions, comments?
I do. Would you be telling your people, now that they've got their ballots, to hold on to them and don't deposit them until November-ish?
No, I would say, if you know what you want people to vote for, get those votes in early. Get those votes in as early as you can. If they're willing to cast their votes, if they're willing to submit their ballots, get them in as soon as you can. I would start working your precinct right now and getting people to vote right now, in my humble opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay, if that's the case, we're going to call it a session. It's 1:39. I like to get people out in under 40 minutes if I can. Next week, we got a really good one. Greg Burnett of Burnett Media Group, who's also the board of directors. He's the president of Western Liberty Network's board of directors. He owns a digital media company. That's how he makes his living. He does digital advertising, and he's going to do a training on how you can use social media at this stage of the campaign to support the candidates and ballot measures that you care about. So that'll be at 1 o'clock next Saturday. Same bat time, same bat channel. So unless there's anything more for the good of the order, we'll call it a day. Okay. Thank you and God bless.